So, why does giving too much attention to women sometimes backfire? Let's think about it. You've probably heard the phrase, if you want something, you have to work for it. Well, guess what? This doesn't just apply to gym gains, it applies to attraction too. Imagine you're playing a video game. You're on the hardest level, getting through the challenges, figuring out the strategy, and you're invested. Now, imagine the game just hands you a free pass and lets you win without any effort. Is boring, right? That's exactly what happens when you give too much attention. It's too easy. There's no chase, no mystery, no excitement. Women are hardwired to love a challenge, and when you make it too easy, it loses all the appeal. The key to attraction is creating tension, not just being the nice guy who's always there. If you're constantly available, you lose your value. You're making it too simple for her, and guess what? She's not interested in easy. No one likes a game that's too predictable. Attraction thrives on mystery and challenge, and when you lower the bar by being too available, you're setting yourself up for failure. Let's break it down a bit more. Ever been in a situation where you're constantly available, texting back in 2 seconds, jumping at every chance to be there for her, and she still seems a little distant? It's like you're doing everything right, but somehow, it's still not working. You start thinking, what am I, chopped liver? What more does she want from me? Am I not texting fast enough or something? You've been available for her whenever she needs, but she's out there living her best life without a care in the world. You're the definition of always there, and it's not working. It's like you've got all the right moves, but somehow it's still not clicking. You know the feeling, like you're in a one-sided relationship with your phone, constantly waiting for the ding of a new message, only to realize that you're not the one she's chasing after. You start questioning everything. What did I do wrong? Was my reply not smooth enough? Did I forget the smiley face emoji? You check your phone for the umpteenth time only to see the same old notification. Absolutely nothing. It's like you've been given the good guy trophy, but all it's earned you is a permanent spot in the friend zone. Well, here's the thing, when you're too available, it's like you're the free app she downloaded and forgot about. You're just sitting there waiting for someone to click open. Nobody's chasing after you when you're just sitting there doing nothing. You know how it feels when you're scrolling through a dating app and it's like, hey, I've got all these great qualities, but I just can't seem to stand out from the crowd? Yeah, that's you, just another free app waiting for a click but not being interesting enough to make her want to use you. Instant gratification sounds good on paper, but it gets boring fast. You're just another notification on her phone, something she knows she can ignore until she feels like responding. And guess what? When she knows you'll always be there, she stops valuing your time. But let's talk about why stepping back a little works wonders. Picture this. You're still interested, but you've got your own life to live. You're busy, not always available, and suddenly she starts thinking, why isn't he texting me back immediately? Now that's the magic moment. She starts to wonder what you're doing. Is he busy? Why hasn't he replied yet? And guess what? Suddenly you've sparked her interest. It's like a light bulb goes off in her head and she's like, hold on, maybe I should pay more attention to this guy. It's the same principle as when you're watching a mystery movie and they show you just enough to keep you hooked, but leave you asking questions. You want her to feel that curiosity. You're not a mystery novel that's already been read cover to cover. You're the book she's dying to finish but can't get enough of. You're keeping her on the edge of her seat, and that's exactly where you want her. Now here's the real kicker. When you stop being so available, that's when she starts feeling the need to chase you. Think of it like this. Remember when you were in high school and you wanted to borrow your friend's notes from class? The friend who made you work for it, made you wait, maybe even teased you a little about how invaluable the notes were? Well, that's what you need to do, make her work for it. You're not handing over everything on a silver platter. You're keeping a little bit of distance so she can appreciate your presence. That's how you create intrigue. You want her to feel like she's putting in the effort to get your attention. And trust me, once that switch flips, you're no longer just a guy. You've become a challenge. You're the rare Pokemon in the wild. It's not about catching you, it's about earning you. Think about it, how much more exciting is it to chase after something that's not so easily caught? But here's the catch. When you make her chase, she's going to value you a lot more. And here's where it gets fun. When she's chasing you, you flip the script. She's the one wondering why you haven't replied yet. She's the one texting you first. Suddenly, you're the one who's got her attention, and you're not doing anything differently except being less available. The dynamic completely changes, and that's when you start feeling the power shift. But here's something to keep in mind. I'm not telling you to become a cold, unapproachable jerk. Don't take it too far, like disappearing for days with no explanation. That's playing hard to get to a whole new level of ghosting, and that's not what we're going for. No, it's about balance. It's about giving her just enough attention to keep her intrigued but not too much to the point where she knows exactly where you are and what you're doing at every second. You want her to feel like she's on the hunt for something she values, and that, my friend, is how you keep the attraction alive. When you stop overgiving attention and give her the space to miss you, you'll notice that the tables turn. Suddenly she's texting you first. You're not constantly filling the void with your attention anymore. Now she's the one wondering about you, and that's when the real magic happens. You've got her interested, and that's the energy you want to create, because it's the difference between being a must-have and just another nice-to-have. Keep her intrigued and watch how quickly the dynamic shifts. Now, let's talk about how this all plays out in real life. Imagine this. You're at a bar and you see someone you're interested in. You've got the confidence, you've got the charm, and you're ready to make a move. But instead of just walking up to her and saying something clever, you start bombarding her with messages, liking every photo and tagging her in memes. It's like you're playing the "I'm available 24/7" game, and trust me, it's not a game anyone's trying to play. You know how you feel when you see that person who keeps sending you a friend request over and over again? They're like, "Hey, I'm here. Can you see me? I'm still here." And you're like, "Okay, we get it, you exist." That's what you're doing when you give too much attention. You're being that guy. It doesn't matter how well-intentioned you are, when you're available all the time, it's not attractive. You might be thinking, "I'm being nice, I'm showing interest, what's the problem?" But here's the thing, being available doesn't automatically make you valuable. It makes you predictable, and as we know, predictable isn't exciting. And the thing is, women, like all of us, love excitement. If you've ever binge-watched a show, you know how it feels when you reach the final episode of the season and suddenly you're left hanging. It's that cliffhanger that keeps you on the edge of your seat. That's what you need to be in relationships. You need to leave a little mystery. When you're always there, texting at the speed of light, there's no room for mystery. Now, I know what you're thinking, but isn't being available a good thing? Sure, being emotionally available is great, but being physically available all the time is what makes you look desperate. And we all know nobody wants to date someone who's desperate. It's like going to a fancy restaurant and finding out they have a bottomless option. But the moment you take a sip of your drink, the waiter is there with another refill before you even finish. It's too much. You're not giving her space to wonder about you, to miss you, to even appreciate your presence. And here's the thing, when you step back a little, you become more valuable. You give her the opportunity to chase, to wonder what you're doing, why you haven't texted back, and suddenly, you've become intriguing. You've made it a game, and that's when the real fun starts. Let's be real here, people don't like things that come easy all the time. Think about it, when you get a free sample at a store, you love it, right? But if the whole store was handing out free samples every time you walked in, you'd stop caring. Free samples lose their value when they're given away too freely. Now, what if you were the one that wasn't so easily accessible? You don't just offer your time, your attention, and your energy on a silver platter. When you stop texting immediately, when you're not constantly at her beck and call, that's when she starts thinking, "What's he doing? Why hasn't he texted me back?" And trust me, when you're not always available, that's when the real attraction begins. But remember, this doesn't mean you turn into some ghost who disappears and doesn't show up. We're not talking about becoming emotionally unavailable or playing games. That's not the point. What we're talking about is balance. It's about not being so easy to read. It's about creating some space where she has to wonder what you're up to and why you haven't been texting her every second. The key here is to maintain your value. You have to let her feel like you're a challenge to attain, like she has to put in some work to catch you. And when she feels like that, she'll start chasing. That's when the tables start turning. She's the one who's trying to get your attention, not the other way around. And let me tell you, when that shift happens, it's magic. But hey, don't get this wrong. I'm not telling you to play these weird mind games or be super distant to the point where you're emotionally unavailable. That's not attractive either. What you want is to have a sense of mystery, to leave a little to the imagination. You want to show that you're a man who has his own life, his own plans, and his own goals. It's not about being cold or distant, it's about being confident enough to know your worth. You're a man with value, and that value isn't something you're just giving away freely. And trust me, once you've got that balance down, things will change. You won't be the guy who's always chasing after her, constantly trying to prove your worth. You'll be the guy she's trying to chase. The more you give her that space, the more she'll realize that she has to earn your time, your attention, and your affection. And guess what? When she earns it, it'll mean so much more to her. The relationship becomes stronger, more fulfilling, and most importantly, more balanced. Alright, before you go, here's the big question. Which approach works better for you in relationships? Do you think showing more attention gets you further, or is it better to leave a little mystery and let her chase a bit? Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Is it A for attention or M for mystery? Let's get the conversation going, and who knows? Your comment might just help someone else figure out their approach. And don't forget, if you're loving these insights, don't miss the next video. It's all about building your confidence without needing constant validation. Click right here to keep learning, and let's keep growing together. See you in the next one.